Alright, it's Waffle Wednesday. I'm going to work through today's waffle. This is the waffle-shaped Wordle game where there are 6 words, so 3 going across and 3 going up and down. The green letters are in the right place in the puzzle. Don't need to move those. Yellow letters are in the right word but in the wrong place. So this U is interesting because it's happening in the word going across as well as the word going up and down. So when you have a letter that's here and it's yellow, it doesn't necessarily have to go in this word. It could go in this word or vice versa. Or both. It could go in both. But you don't know necessarily. Okay, so you can tell that it says at the bottom 15 swaps remaining. So in order to get a 5-star waffle, I'm going to need 5 swaps remaining at the end. So I only have 10 moves if I want to get a perfect score on this puzzle, which I like to do. So I'm usually pretty careful about when I move stuff around. So we have a bunch of information about the top word and the bottom word here. We have 3 greens in both of those words. This word, it seems unlikely that the U would go in this word, right? I don't know any words that start N-O and end U-D, I don't think. Especially since I'm looking at the letters that are here. So unless it's a word that I'm unfamiliar with, it doesn't have a U in it. Nomad is the first thing that comes to mind. And there is a yellow M here that could go in this position. And it seems like, I was thinking maybe this word could be music. So just thinking about the M being here, what could this word be? The U is going to have to be in this up and down word if it's not in this word, which I'm really thinking is nomad. I'm going to utilize my little notepad here and write down my thoughts as I think of them. So nomad is the first word that's coming to mind, is that top word. And then if it started M-U-S, I was thinking music, musty maybe? There's a T and a Y here. Musty would be possible, and then the bottom word could be royal. So oftentimes like these words will tie together like this when they share a letter, and you'll be able to figure out kind of like this I, this capital I shape, and there's also an H shape that sort of connects together. But I'm thinking, so right off the bat I'm thinking nomad, I said royal, and I said some nomad led into musty, which led into royal, and I think that would work. That looks pretty nice. And so you can kind of look at the letters and figure out if it would work though. And so if royal is going to work, there's 2 O's in the puzzle, but they're both yellow. So the only way that royal works is if the O goes here and then one of these, so the yellow letters would both be like fulfilled by this being an O, which is an interesting concept. Okay, so sometimes when if I get stuck, I'll sort of write down all the letters. Why don't we do that? It makes it easier for me to think about what the other words could be. So I'm gonna write down all of the letters that aren't green that we still have to place in a little letter bank here. So I'm gonna do that quick. U D Y C I O A T L A M O I R. I think that's all the letters in order that aren't green in the puzzle. And in nomad we used an M and an A, so I'm going to take away all the letters that I used in the 3 words that I was thinking about, M-A, and then we don't need to repeat this M because it's appearing in this word, but that's only 1 letter. So musty uses a U, a T, and a Y. U-T, U, Y, T, and then royal would just use an O because we already have the Y from the other word. Okay, so these would be the letters remaining if these words were correct, right? Now I'm not positive those words are correct, but I'm going to use this little letter bank to try to fill out the rest of these. So I know that this word is going to need an O at the very least. This word is going to need an A at the very least. And I'm thinking if royal is going to work, the O is going to have to go here. I feel like an R kind of has to come after the D. D-R-O. I think droll is a word, so it could be D-R-O-L-L. And in that case, these 2 letters would switch. So let's put that down and put droll as a possibility. And then that would use an R, an O, and an L. So O, R, L would be gone. Then for the last 2 words, we just have these 5 letters. This one needs an A. I think nadir an animal? I think it means to swim in Spanish, but I think it's also an animal. If this was nadir, this word would start with an A and a D, and end in an O, and it would be disco, which I think would work. I think that works. Nadir. Going here would use ADI, ADI, and then we would be left with IS. So we just need an I and a C for disco. This works. So I use my letter bank to narrow it down, and these words work. So now we've reached the second part of the puzzle, trying to maximize and just like use the perfect amount of swaps. So I'm really careful and try to find all the words before I move anything so I can make sure I'm moving things the right way. So I want to look for all of the places that I can switch two tiles and make them both turn green. So I had already discussed this one right here. If this word is droll, which I'm pretty confident it is, then this O and this L are going to have to go in each other's places, and we can turn two tiles green in one move, which we just did, and that's going to maximize or minimize our swaps. Because if we can turn two green every turn, we're going to be in a lot better shape than turning one green every turn, right? Okay, so now I got to look for other places where two tiles are kind of in each other's spots. So that might take a second. All right, so the other way to think about this is that if there's only one letter in the puzzle, then I can just put it in the right place. So the tricky things are, like when there's two A's, I have to make sure I don't pick the wrong one to put in a spot, because there's a possibility that I could switch it with a tile and turn both of them green. But I know there's only one Y in the puzzle, and that has to go here for royal, so I'm just going to place that. There's only one C, and that has to go here for disco, so I'm just going to do that. Okay. Now the M, T, and U could all switch, and I can turn three tiles green in just two moves. There's only one M in the puzzle. It has to go here. So I'm going to do that. And then now if I switch these two, they'll both turn green, which is efficient. So that's great. Only one O left. That has to go here. We'll just throw that down here. Okay, so now what? There's two I's, two A's remaining. The R has to go here. And now if I switch this A and this I, they will be in each other's spots. And now we just have three. So I have 7 swaps remaining. So I only have 2 swaps until 5, but I have 3 tiles remaining. And the last swap, 2 tiles always turn green, which is great. So as long as I put 1 tile in the right spot, and the next turn this I has to go here for disco. Then when I switch these 2 tiles, they're both going to turn green. That's a 5-star waffle because we have 5 swaps remaining. Perfectly executed. And that's how you play this game if you want to get 5 stars. Maybe a little overkill, but I like to make sure I get 5 stars. The stats are good. We're looking good. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.